Good evening, or I don't know what time it is, whenever you're watching. So, how about, oi? So blunt. I didn't know if I'd make it on tonight. I was kind of tired and I'd been kind of had my hands full all day, but I just got out of the tub and I finished a really good book I wanted to share, so I thought I'd pop on. I do have sometimes I'll do these little audio voice recordings because I'll just be going through life wherever I am, and I'll be getting a download that's it's coming in so quick and I can't catch it on paper. It's too fast, too furious, too hot to handle, too cold to hold. So I gotta throw it into a voice memo, and so they stack up over time. But it's kind of good because I have this bank of what I can use as a video to have something to offer for the day if I get too busy. Because I remember my goal this year is to make a video and post it every day. And so far, I am on a roll. I have achieved it so far. So yay! I'm excited. I'm proud of myself. But hopefully not being too rigid in case I need to go easy on myself one day if I slip up. Neither here nor there. Bath was good, and so was the book. So I don't know if you know or if you're familiar with Marie Forleo, but she is like the best cheerleader to have sitting on your shoulder in life. When I discovered her, it was probably maybe around 2010, maybe a little earlier than that, probably 2010, and I was just torn apart inside because I had all this creativity and all of these talents and all these different skills, and I felt like they should fit together in some way, but I didn't know how to make it work, and I didn't know, I wanted to write screenplays and make films and make stop motion animations, but also make a blog and write about metaphysics and all of these different things, and make art and make jewelry and make furniture and everything. There's just so many things that I like doing, and I was always just I don't know what thing to focus on, or what things should I do first, or what's the most important, or is there a wrong choice? So it was really overwhelming, and I was frozen in that overwhelm for years, and I would work on things and over time, but I felt like I wasted many years in indecision, or just in overwhelm of not knowing how to narrow down what to focus on first, or how to manage my time or attention span. And I hadn't really nailed down my attention span yet either, because I was really new to meditation and things, and I've always been a person with a short attention span. It's really easy for me to just slip off into a trance. That's what makes me a good person for channeling and creativity, and that's what gives me my superpower. But it's also what has given me, it's very difficult because I'll just go off into space, so it's very difficult to read quickly because I have to reread things a lot or rewatch parts of videos again and again, because it's just the moment I get comfortable, I'm just in another dimension somewhere, with all of these thoughts coming through, and I'm where's a pen? And then I'm oh my god, I'm talking to the bank teller, and she's ma'am, are you okay? It's not that bad. Sometimes I feel like I'm on the verge. So I found Marie Forleo, and she was kind of the first person who was a general life coach that I'd ever come across and been exposed to. And it was oh my gosh, this is someone who speaks my language, and I feel like she's also a multi-passionate person, and was also tormented by that same kind of issue. So she kind of figured it out, and so I just started eating up her blog, and have learned so much from her, and even just from her YouTube channel and her newsletter and the workshops that she does for free a few times a year. I have learned so much, and so many foundational skills and for entrepreneurship and starting a business, or just understanding how I could wrap my mind around starting my own brand or my own blog, or just any way to get on a platform and reach people and hone in your vision and your voice. I'm still working on it. I stumble through every one of these, but it's showing up that matters. And Marie told me that perfection or progress over perfection is one of the ideas from her book. So everything is figureoutable. I love the cover of this book, by the way. I'm obsessed. And they had this whole video on how excited they were about this cover and how they had to work really hard to get it because they had to do trial and error through many different designs and outfits and fonts and whatnot. But this is perfect. So Marie's life philosophy is everything is figureoutable. And she learned this from her mom, who's this just like a Spitfire, tough New Jersey girl, and who was raised by a tough Spitfire, New Jersey girl. And her mom, would just get in there and figure anything out. And this was in the 80s, when we didn't have the internet. So you couldn't just look it up online. You might be able to go to the library and check out a book. But I remember my mom was like this too. She would just figure out how to do something and just do it. And she just didn't even have time to deal with the thought of going to the library. She was just like, we'll just get in there and, figure it out. So Marie, built her whole life on that philosophy and has used it to overcome so many things, but she has been teaching that as one of her main cornerstones for years. And over the years, all these people have written to her and told her these stories of how they have been through harrowing situations, sometimes taking loved ones, through hospice or facing these giants or these gigantic challenges that would just break people. And that simple little thought, everything is figureoutable, and just generally, Marie's encouragement and advice helped them to be able to combat the overwhelm of feeling completely helpless with nowhere to start. And so she kind of gives you the tools to unpack that kind of a situation and just start to take inspired action. So this book is amazing if you're the kind of person who's got a lot of creativity and inspiration inside of yourself, and you have all kinds of things that you're interested in love, but you're not quite sure what it is that you need to do or focus on, or if you're I want to do something, but I'm not sure how to find my passion, or how to narrow down what would be worthwhile for me to invest my time in, what's particular to me. And so she kind of helps you go through these exercises. She shares her philosophy and a lot of really inspiring stories and a lot of great research and anecdotes, but she really gives you practical hands-on, exercises to, first of all, clarify what is the essence of what you value in that goal, how to narrow down what's the most important to you, and then how to figure out how to scale, manage your expectations on yourself so that you can reach that goal, so that you're not feeling oh, I didn't get to it in a month, I'm a failure and give up, So she lays out a roadmap for making it happen, whatever it is. It's okay, this is the mindset you have to have. This is the willingness, and these are tools to get you started in that direction. So it was incredibly inspiring, and it just really helps you organize your approach and your mind, and it helps you ease the suffering of being a person with so much that you want to get out and you just don't know how because it's bottlenecked. So she really helps with that bottleneck. Yeah, and she even tells the story of how she had all of these huge dreams that were all over the map, and most people would be you're a flake, you've got all these pipe dreams, none of them are realistic or whatever. And I mean this woman learned dance, her lifelong dream, for the first time when she, not growing up taking dance, first time ever dancing, going and learning from hip hop classes at a gym and a formal dance ballet studio, in one of the artsy, kind of official state run kind of situations or whatever. Not state run, but when there's like here we have the TPAC Performing Arts Center, and you can take like formal ballet classes through them. It was like one of those kinds of things, but like in New York, so it was probably a lot better than the one in Nashville. But anyway, so she's just like taking a few classes and been doing this for a few months, and then all of a sudden it's like MTV. Somehow she gets involved and like gets to like produce a show, like those shows on MTV. I don't remember if you remember back in the day, but they would have those like hip hop workouts and all that. So she was like choreographing and like producing stuff on this like MTV while she was like also like bartending and like cleaning toilets if she had to, and like building up her like life coaching business. It's like a really young person, and she was like, I'm like coaching people, I'm just like starting life. But she made it happen. She figured it out, and like it's just great. It just really motivates you, because it also shows you that like I think a lot of people get hung up on, and this is what I'm in the process of doing right now. They feel a lot of pressure not to go and do a simple, humble job that would maybe provide them a lot of flexibility or whatever they needed, or low stress, in order to get them out of a bad situation and support them on the way to a dream. So a lot of people are like, well, I really feel like I need to leave this corporate world and pursue, this entrepreneurial endeavor that I want to take on, or a spiritual coaching business, or a healing business, or maybe I want to be a hairstylist or whatever, but I don't have my clients yet. I need to go to hair school. So basically, a lot of people, I think, they think that they just have to like burn the bridge, leave the job, and then go start this business and make it be profitable right off the bat. And I think a lot of people overlook the fact that like what I'm doing right now, I want to pursue more of my spiritual calling and my spiritual gifts, and use that to help others. And I want to do it full time. And in order to do that full time and really devote yourself to all the study, to open yourself to that kind of transformation all the time, so that you can kind of go through the hardest part and give other people like, okay, this is what I figured out from this huge process. I want to do it for you to help you hopefully do it faster, right? So those people, like, they need to make a career of it, because it takes so much time that you hardly have time to do anything or think about or do anything else or pursue anything else. So you kind of have to create some kind of like sustainable, system around it. So there's these dreams that I want to pursue, and I have to build, a business plan around it, and a platform, and all these things that take a lot of time and like investment in yourself and a lot of focus. And I'm happy to do it. I'm really happy to do it. But I had to leave film work, or at least film work is my primary income, in order to do that, because it took too much of my life force, too much of the days. I mean, they're at least 12-hour days, if not 16. I mean, and that, you have to think about like, well, how long are you spending during the day, like sleeping, driving, brushing your teeth, showering? Like, I quit putting on makeup and stuff to go to work. So I was like, it takes too much of my life away from me. I don't even have time to like do a daily devotional in the morning. So I was just like, man, this isn't really providing me enough to make it worth all the other things in my life that I'm missing out on that I also enjoy. So I never thought I would go back to waiting tables again, but I thought, okay, well, if I didn't go back to the same environment and it was a different situation, it would offer me flexibility, simplify so many logistical issues in my life that I have to think about, because I'm all over the place when we're like reporting to set, what time, like it's just all over the like night, day, like who knows, right? So knowing just where I'm going to go to work every week, and not have to like hunt for a gig and like follow up with an invoice, find a lost paycheck that's gotten, fallen through the cracks at another payroll company somewhere. It's just like all of those things were eliminated. All the stress of that is gone. And I've been so light, and I'm like, wow, it's so great, because I can go into work and have fun and get to see the same people all the time, and just make it simple. And before, years ago, I might have felt really hard, like down on myself about it. Like, I was, I don't know, maybe doing something that I was beneath my skills or something. But the thing is that I'm trying to make things happen. And if it gives me all the things that I want, and I'm like hitting goals, like if somebody is just like, hey, I just want to do this job, it gives me all the things that I value. Like, who cares what it is? Every job needs to get done. Like, if you're feeling like you're on the right path in your life, like, ain't nobody gonna wag the finger at you, miss or sir, like, nobody can tell you that you're not, on the wrong path if you feel like you're on the right path, or that you're doing what you need to do to get to take care of your business. So never let anybody make you feel bad about taking a job that's, not some expert level or what you're used to having. It's perfectly okay to do multiple jobs. Just do it, whatever you need to do to make ends meet. But it's better to support your new goal rather than ask it to support you, because it's like a little baby, so take the pressure off of it so that there's not a bunch of needy energy behind it. So let yourself get that bridge job. And I mentioned that the other day. It's another thing that I learned on TV, and it's not like they thought of what it is. It's just that they called this thing a bridge job. They coined that term. But the bridge job is basically like, if you want to be doing something else. Okay, so say a person was not working in the television industry and they wanted to work in TV and film, and they wanted to be an art director. Well, they may not be able to just jump into the industry as an art director. They need time to learn and to understand what that job consists of, right? There's a lot of ways you could crash and burn if you didn't know what you were doing. So the bridge job would be any job that gets you into the industry and allows you to learn about the industry at large. And then it's like a stepping stone to get to the next. And it expands your horizons because you're exposing yourself to this thing that before seemed so far away, so but then you're like, okay, I'm here now. I'm learning, and I can see, and I'm moving up, and I'm introducing myself. Now, another version of this, if it's not in the field that you're interested in, you can do something that at least provides you a lot of the means and the resources that you need to get to the other place, or to focus on studying for another skill or whatever. But it just frees up all of your mental resources, and it allows you, to provide for yourself in the meantime. So it's basically a stepping stone. It's taking the pressure off of yourself to think that it's all or nothing. Like, you have to either get this means to an end, or it's nothing else will satisfy. And that is actually the message of the devil card in the tarot. Is the trick of the devil is for him to make you think that there's only one way. It can only be this. That's why, when you want something, it's better to release the form of it to God, or, to the source of all it is, or the great creator, or the great spirit, because we can get so hung up on the one little form that it takes control over us, that it has total power over us. And when we surrender to something greater than ourselves, then we're showing trust and faith that something even better can be waiting for us, and we don't even know what that is yet. And that we're never dependent on one thing being the absolute answer. It's all the time people are so casual about saying oh, this will be my ticket, or this will be the answer, or this is going to solve all my problems. Every single commercial on TV is this is going to be the answer. This is going to save me. This is going to solve the situation for good. And no one thing, nothing is ever the answer. It's the process is the answer anyway. So, and then, it's funny because this book is about process. It's not about, the quick fix. It's about the journey, the whole thing is the thing. Every part of the building experience builds you and builds. It's just, it builds beyond the thing. It builds something within you. It builds it takes on a life of its own around outside of you. I'm really starting to get rambly now, but then every time I go back and when I'm editing or whatever, I'm I wasn't as I wasn't as all over the place as I always feel like I am. But I guess it's because when you're channeling, it just sometimes you just feel out of body. And it's like when I'm reading, trying to read the booklet of a card to someone, I can't read anymore. It's just it's all too cumbersome. But I did pull out 2 decks that I thought would be really appropriate to go with our goals and our dreams. So we'll do a little career reading and dream reading. So hold in your heart whatever it is that your dream is right now, your pursuit, the dream within your heart. This is what this advice is going to be addressing. So my first card is coming from The Universe Has Your Back, Gabrielle Bernstein's deck. I love this one. It's snippets from her book in an oracle deck. It never fails. How, God, do you have our back? What do we need to know? Ha! I surrender to a power greater than me. We just were talking about that. Oh, you can't make this stuff up, folks. You just can't. It's so funny because any person that plays with cards or like cackling witches, they're always laughing. And it's just because magic is just hilarious. It really is. You're always seeing witches laughing at the moon because they probably just had some magic thing happen and they're like, ha ha ha. And then this card was also flipped over and stuck to it, which is, I am a spirit having a human experience, and I'm here to get closer to love. And I love that. I surrender to a power greater than me, and I'm a spirit having a human experience, and I'm here to get closer to love. And that's all about just melting into the process. Each day that goes by is a process, and we're not racing to any finish line because it's a pretty morbid one. So enjoy. I mean, I don't know. I struggle with anxiety, and sometimes I don't even know what it's related to. Sometimes it's like the other day, I was anxious all day. Like the level of anxiety, you would think that I was going to get a call that someone had been in a horrible accident. And it was that I went into work and there was a miscommunication that I wasn't finished training yet. And they were going to like put me on the floor as a server with tables, and they hadn't even shown me the computer. And I was like, oh my God, I'm literally living my worst nightmare, because for weeks now I was convinced that like I've been like just helping them as a backup waiter through the holidays because they just needed like extra hands instead of more people in more sections. So I did that for a couple of weeks just to get back into the restaurant life, and it was a nice, easy transition. I'm not like trying to prove myself to anybody. I'm just like, hey, what if I just kind of phone it in for a few weeks and just do this? So it was really nice. It was a nice transitional time. And then I completely burned out and had to be out of work for 3 weeks. So Liz needed a break. But yeah, it was only that. And then they were like, oh, sorry, we'll just have you follow and like, we'll switch it around. But, and then they were like, oh, we just let Kim leave. And I kept thinking like, I need someone to like deal with this like error with me clocking in before Kim leaves. And I didn't even know why or what it was related to. And I was just like, why am I like being so crazy about this happening now? Like, just chill. And I'm like, I can't chill. And it was because they were like, oh, Kim could have worked, but then she had already left, and I don't know. So I was like, why am I so anxious? I'm having so much anxiety. I was probably practically agoraphobic too from being home like as an introvert for like 3 or 4 weeks. I was like, oh, it's so nice. Never want to leave again. But yeah, so sometimes it's a struggle to just release that anxiety. And even, when you've done work for 20 years, you'll still have it. I mean, it's like we do so much work and we have glimpses of like, enlightenment, but then we go, we're back to the same old flawed beings like 10 minutes later, just a nervous wreck, chewing on our fingers. But it's fine because that's what we're here for. We're here to have a human experience. And so allow yourself that when you're dreaming about what it is that your dream is, when you're surrendering the how and the what and the when and the, how's it going to happen? What's it going to look like? What opportunity is going to come through? Who's going to manage this or who's going to be my this or that? And it's like, just surrender all that and just rest knowing that your desire is there because it's waiting for you somewhere to meet up with it. Whatever it is, it's been put in your heart for a reason, by God, by the power that's greater than you. And a lot of people have been given an idea of God that felt really stern and disappointed in them, and with a plan that was going to be very sterile and joyless and require them to not have anything that they wanted. And they were almost taught that if they wanted it, they should be suspicious of it because it's probably a trick of Satan. But that's not really the God that I know. The God that I know knows me better than anybody, like the real me, and is like, she's gonna love this. Like, the God I know gives me a magical life and sends all kinds of funny little things my way to keep me entertained, and when I need rest, he gives me rest, you know. Sometimes people, it's so funny, on To Be Magnetic, this girl, on one of the episodes where people talk about their experience with some of the workshops and how, you know, it's really great because you can hear how they were tested and the pings that they got and followed and how it all worked out. And this girl was like, yeah, she really needed to take some time to get to know herself on a deeper level because there was just these big crossroads she was coming up to in life. And she needed to take the time to sit with it, but she just didn't have time. She was rushing around and rushing through life. And then she ended up getting hit by a car on her bike and like being out of work for several weeks because her leg was broken, I think. And I was like, something in me like recognized that when she said it, but I was like, no, I don't want that to happen to me. I don't want a big, expensive, scary thing. You know, I don't want to be in an accident. But it was like, I somehow knew something like that was going to happen to me too, but it did. And I didn't have to get into an accident, thank God. I just got like a mild but persistent case of COVID. I mean, I guess it wasn't mild, it was kind of moderate, but it was enough to be like, make me stay put. And when I started to feel even able to like walk to the microwave, I was like, I've got to get back to work. And it was like, nope, back's thrown out, got a migraine, like you're staying put. And so I've been, you know, deep diving into a lot of stuff the last few weeks, and it's been really good. But you just have to trust that everything's working out all the time. That we don't have to feel gripped to hold on to our idea of control. It's an illusion anyway. So the moment we surrender to the acceptance that control is all an illusion, then we can release ourselves into the current and trust that it's going to take us somewhere good, and trust ourselves to be able to course correct if we need to, you know. I mean, it's sometimes we just second guess ourselves, or we think like, oh, it's all going to go down in flames and I'm just going to freeze up and nothing, you know, I'm going to fail, and you'll be fine. You'll pull through. One more card about our dreams and our goals, and then I'm going to get off here because I always think, I'm like, oh, I don't have anything to say. What am I going to talk about? And I'm like, once I press record, I'll probably have a hard time not talking for like 30, 40 minutes, and we're at 27 minutes. I keep saying one day I'll make shorter videos, and every now and then I do, but not often. So, okay, Magical Mermaids and Dolphins, Oracle deck by Doreen Virtue, who doesn't have, they're out of print, and she doesn't do cards anymore. But this particular deck is all about manifesting your goals. Oh, and motivation. What is this? Pay attention. Notice repetitious signs in your inner guidance, as this can yield valuable information. Amazing. So surrender to a power greater than you. Release your grip on control. You're not in control anyway. So release the how and the why and the what, the when, and just realize that you're spirit having a human experience, and you're here to be human, not a perfect spirit. Your perfect spirit is here for a human experience, not the other way around. I mean, we can meet in the middle, but if we're too transcendent, then we're not, practical, functional people in 3D world, I mean, I have a kind of a trouble with that. I'm the person that's like, got to work really hard to remember to take care of all the regular old adulting. Like, I'm like, I'm off in the woods, and I'm like, I see the universe so clearly. And it's like, oh, fuck, I got to go pay that thing, so be here, be grounded. And that's what I'm working on this year, is being more grounded in the Pentacles realm, in the earth realm, in the 3D and applying that spiritual wisdom into my practical day to day. So, and improve that. But pay attention, notice repetitious signs, spend quiet time once or twice a day with yourself. I like to pray out everything all day, but specifically start my day with some prayers and some meditations or affirmations or whatever, thoughts or prayers or things that you can do that set you up for the day to feel certain in the divine, that you're being guided and protected, that you're grateful, and that you really think about the things around you and why you're grateful for them. And get clear on the things that you're trying to overcome in yourself for that day, so that you'll know as the day goes on, when you're triggered and tempted, you're like, okay, I want to pause and like really choose the way I act, or react, not react. We want to be proactive. So when things happen and trigger us, we want to take a step back and sit with it for a while and examine it, and not, respond while we're in a triggered state. We need to only act once we're clear and certain, and we've had a chance to like reflect and glean something from it. I think that also too, watch out for like little like signs like from the universe. Like if you have any that you're like, oh, if I see that, then I know that it's a message for this or that. Watch out for those little repetitions. Watch out for little patterns that are playing out. It could be good too. It could be good patterns. But yeah, watch out for little signs. Surrender and be easy on yourself, because we're all just humans. Jesus most often referred to himself as the Son of Man, not the Son of God. Son of God was actually a propaganda term that was the Empire? Was it the Roman Empire used, or was it the Greek Caesars? Can't remember. I think it's the Romans, but yeah, it was a propaganda thing that the emperors would say to inflate themselves. And so when Jesus said it, he was actually calling them out and being kind of facetious, being subversive. But yeah, and he was also like, well, I'm the Son of Man, because I am proud to be a human being. Because human beings have the potential to be above even the angels. But we have free will, and the thing that makes us even more special is if we can achieve that angelic state, it means that we overcame, pain and sadness and temptation to get there. So we're all just trying. Sending you love. Bye.